Our overhead press chapter covers the two most common free weight variations of vertical pressing, the barbell overhead press and the seated dumbbell shoulder press. However, there are times when a different variation may be better suited to your individual needs. In this video, we'll cover machine overhead pressing variations, the standing single-arm dumbbell overhead press, and high incline seated dumbbell shoulder presses. Simply put, not everyone has the mobility to properly perform a barbell overhead press or a dumbbell seated shoulder press without leaning back and arching their lumbar to press the arms overhead. Free weight overhead pressing is a valuable exercise because it not only provides a great stimulus for the anterior deltoid, but also trains the middle deltoid and even the posterior deltoid to some degree. However, you shouldn't force the issue if you don't have the mobility to perform either of these presses. A useful alternative, instead of leaning back to compensate for a lack of mobility, is to simply set an incline bench on the highest setting, just below being upright. The incline doesn't need to be much. Even a 10-degree inclination from upright is sufficient. If your bench can't incline this high, you can place a couple plates underneath the back support of the bench to create this angle. This position will allow you to press through a full range of motion without having to lean back and arch, which many find is more comfortable and allows them to focus simply on the execution of the exercise. Just like the traditional seated dumbbell shoulder press, the movement begins by forcefully driving each dumbbell upward by lifting the knees one at a time to get the weights into position. Dumbbells enable each arm to move independently, which may allow you to use a greater pain-free range of motion than other presses. Use a full range of motion, bringing the dumbbells all the way back to the start position on each rep. Keep upper back and glute contact with the pad while you press, and if you find the very first rep too challenging to start, you can have a partner spot you to get in the top position so that the rep begins by lowering the dumbbells rather than pressing them from a dead stop. Another alternative is the standing single-arm dumbbell shoulder press. This exercise allows you to focus on one arm at a time and may be helpful if you find the bilateral shoulder press challenging from a focus perspective or if you have one arm that is significantly stronger than the other. To perform this variation, you want to be near a rack or another solid piece of equipment that you can hold onto to stabilize your body with your other hand. Use both hands to lift the dumbbell into position. Grasp the rack or adjacent piece of equipment with your other hand for support, brace, and complete full range of motion reps while maintaining a rigid torso and lower body. You will find that you naturally feel more stable by putting more of your weight on your opposite foot from your pressing arm. Once again, if you find the first rep too challenging to initiate from the bottom position, you can do a push press to get the dumbbell into the top position and then begin reps by lowering it, starting with the eccentric. Finally, Smith, plate-loaded, and selectorized machine shoulder presses are suitable options for overhead pressing. These are good choices for lifters who find free weight pressing feels too unstable, unsafe, or causes pain that can be avoided with the machine variation. Machine pressing variations are effective exercises for the anterior delt, but because they keep you in a single plane of motion and don't require as much stabilization, they tend to stimulate the other heads of the deltoid to a lesser degree. To perform plate-loaded and selectorized machine shoulder presses, simply ensure you're using a handle width and position that is comfortable and set the seat so that you have the largest pain-free range of motion possible. If performing a Smith machine shoulder press, you'll have to move a seated bench into the Smith machine rack, centering it so that when you press the bar, it is just barely in front of your nose. There are Smith machines that have bars that travel straight up and down, and there are also Smith machines where the bar travels at a slight angle. When using a Smith machine where the bar travels at a slight angle, set yourself up so that you are pressing up and slightly back rather than up and slightly forward. Also, make sure to set the Smith machine stoppers at or just below your bottom range of motion for safety in case you lose your grip or miss the hooks when rotating the bar back onto them. As always, perform a full range of motion as you can pain-free, pressing forcefully on the concentric and controlling the eccentric. With a Smith machine, if the initial press from the bottom position is too challenging, you can start in the top position, unhooking the bar and lowering it to begin, starting with the eccentric.